Hi there. It's been a very interesting couple of weeks now with regards leaders. Um, about 2 weeks ago, we celebrated the commemoration of the centennial of the death of Michael Collins, or General Michael Collins. Um, he was. I was listening to a podcast about him, and it turns out he was a very, very intelligent gentleman, and he had a lot of contacts, and he was a very, very smart operator during the War for Independence and well before that. Um, what can I say about him? He would have been a very interesting had he survived his assassination in Pale na Bla. Um, he would have been a very serious contender to be the first leader of Ireland, and um, it's interesting to see, and I can't wait to actually read up about him later on in the year. Another leader that passed away recently was Mikhail Gorbachev. He was a very kind, open-hearted kind of guy. He was appointed as chairperson or chairman of the United Soviet Socialist Republics, or USSR. Um, when he wasn't elected, when he was appointed to the position, he knew that the USSR was on its last legs, and that he knew that it was incumbent on him to open Russia up to the West, to the Western values. He brought about the end of the Cold War, and he brought about perestroika, glasnost, which was peace. Basically, he was open to peace after so long, after Russia had been so long an aggravating kind of country. Um, Another leader I would like to talk about would be, well, a living leader would be the Ukrainian President Zelensky. He has witnessed um, everything that has happened to his country since 2014, since the Russians invaded in 2014. Um, Currently, his armies are making a counterattack, and that was only after months, about 6 or 7 months of preparation, months of getting the latest intelligence and advice from many different players, and wargaming and preparing and getting ready to go. His style of leadership, obviously, is not to actually stand in front of everybody with a map and say, we want to do this, that, and the other. No, he listens to the people who know what they're talking about, and he executes it, and he does it with style. And finally, just learned today that Queen Elizabeth II has passed away. She sets a great example for leadership, in that, you know, she's more than 76 years on as the monarch, to stand and represent her people, and for doing that, she has seen the country through the darkest times of the Second World War, and she's seen every conflict ever since. And as a leader, she has stood with the English people. She stood. She stood for values, and regardless of what extreme her people did in terms of the questionable things and the highly positive things, she did have to get up every morning for 76 years, and she always had that choice. She could always abdicate, she could always quit, but she didn't. And that's a great an example. And God save the Queen, King. Yeah, God save the King, King Charles. He has a massive shadow over him for the next few years. Personally, what do I think about leadership? Um, A leader has to know why he's doing these things. So why am I all about military enthusiasm? The reason for that is because I've had many years in the Army Reserve. I was always interested in military type stuff, and I am aware that at this stage in my life I'll never go to the front lines. However, it is incumbent on me to share my experiences with people, and the people that I'm aware of are, well, you've got people who are under 18 who are thinking about joining the army or the defence forces or the guards or the HSE, and if they have if they don't have anybody to talk to, then that's a lost opportunity for us all. There are people who are 18 plus who are army age or Garda age or HSE age, and they're thinking about doing it. Um, they need to be engaged. You need to, rather than them looking at websites and thinking to themselves, will I do it this year or will I do it next year? You know, that's not going to work. You need people to actually come to them and tell them, look, you're good enough to do this. And then you've got people who might have passed that age, who've realised that they could have been something, and they're in a dangerous spot because there are other opportunities available to them in terms of joining the French Foreign Legion, joining the Ukrainian army, or joining defence contractors, mercenaries. And that's, you really have to know what you're doing before you get involved with something like that. And personally, I wouldn't have much information on that. However, if you needed somebody to talk to about it or to explore an idea like that, I would certainly be open to looking into something like that and just seeing where do you go with that. And finally, for anybody else who for whatever reason couldn't do any of those things, they can always get in contact with myself. I've been doing this for the last 3 years. I've explored an awful lot of ideas. I see there is a better way. It's more socially responsible way. It's a more positive way of doing things. And I've been practicing it for the last 3 years. So I suppose a real leader is somebody who who's not looking for followers, but who is willing to ask for their help so that I could help them. That's all I have to say. Take care.